Pinellas Board meeting. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge. And the invocation will be from Commissioner Mertz today. Thank you.
Well, I thank you. Please join me in the invocation. Eternal God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together this afternoon and ask for your blessings while we gather here to move our community forward. In this regard, help this governing body to use reason, empathy, and a mutual respect for all in our deliberations while considering the implications that our decisions will have now and into the future. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Mertz. That was lovely.
Thank you.
We're going to start with our board member introductions, and I will start with Council Member David Albritton. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Do I need to push something here? Microphone, please. Okay. So, Dave Albritton, Clearwater City Council.
Dave Eggers, Pinellas County Commission.
Michael Smith, Vice Mayor, City of Largo.
Gina Driscoll, St. Petersburg City Council, representing the SDA.
Julie Warbajalski, Mayor of the Great City of Dunedin.
Bonnie Noble, council member for Kansas City, representing the inland communities.
Patty Reed, council member for City of Pinellas Park.
Karen Seal, Pinellas County Commission.
Cliff Mers, Commissioner, City of Safety Harbor, representing the cities of Safety Harbor, Oldsmar, and Tarpon Springs.
Hi, and my name is Cookie Kennedy. I'm the mayor of the City of Indian Rocks Beach and the chair of Ford Pinellas for this year. And before we go any further, we have 2 staff birthdays this month. And so is Robert in the house today by any chance? He's not? Okay, well, I have candy for him so that he knows I didn't forget him, for someone to give to him. And is Angela here today? Angela, where are you? Why don't you come up here? I'll meet you over there.
Start us, Michael. Happy birthday.
She's chasing you around.
It would take 3 for me.
Well, we had the Biker City in Gulfport, and Angela was very involved with that as among a lot of the staff, and it was awesome. So I got to know her a little bit there. But so I'm going to give you this is a quiz. Does anybody know what Angela and I have in common besides blonde hair? She's much more beautiful, so I give you one more chance. We are born on the same day.
Oh, really?
Yes. So happy birthday. And I'm so excited. Her birthday is April 29th.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, we'll start with citizens to be heard. Tina, is there any citizen wishing to be heard on any item not already on the agenda for the action by the board today?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay, we'll start with the consent agenda. Is there any board member who has any comments on the consent agenda or wishing anything to be pulled, or is everything okay? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, public hearing item, we're on item number 5, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. This is the Transportation Improvement Program and Unified Work Program amendments. This will be presented by Chelsea, who is already in front of us. Chelsea, if you want to present the amendments.
All right, thank you. I don't have any formal presentation for this. I'm just going to verbally address the item. Good afternoon, board members. Before you today is an amendment to the Unified Planning Work Program and the Transportation Improvement Program, and also one of our agreements with FDOT. This will all be taken as one item. So as I talked to you last month about the Unified Planning Work Program, or the UPWP, it is a 2-year kind of outlay of how we plan to spend our federal transportation dollars. The current UPWP is expiring on June 30th of this year, with a new one starting on July 1st. At the end of that 2-year period, any unspent funds go back to the state, and it takes them about a year to come up with new agreements. So any unspent funds we have from the current 2-year period, we actually cannot touch until July 1st of 2023. So that money, there's a 1-year delay. There is one caveat, however. If we take action this month, we can do what's called a de-obligation, and any funds that we do not believe we're going to spend in the next couple of months, we can go ahead and amend our agreement with DOT, amend the UPWP to remove those funds, and then those funds will be available for our use starting on July 1st of this year. So the action before you is to take $90,000 from the current budgeted amount of transportation planning dollars for this year, de-obligate them so that then starting on July 1st, that $90,000 will then be available to us and our agency for transportation planning activities. Those will also include development of population and employment forecasts going out to 2050 to support the new long-range transportation plan, as well as supporting the investment corridor study that you received a presentation on a couple of months ago. So with that, we are seeking a recommendation or action of approval for that item, and it'll cover all 3 of the items listed on your agenda sheet.
Do any of the board members have any questions at this time for Chelsea? Okay, Tina, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Well, I'm looking for a motion and a second,
Motion to approve.
Second.
and this will be a roll call vote. Tina, would you take the roll?
Aye.
Councilmember Driscoll?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggers?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton?
Aye.
Commissioner Mers?
Yes.
Commissioner Seal?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Noble?
Yes.
And Mayor Kennedy.
Yes,
That passes unanimously.
thank you.
I have the next item too.
I know you do.
Okay.
Okay, you may proceed.
All right, thank you. All right, so the next item on your agenda is a modification to the long-range transportation plan. That's the 2045 Advantage Pinellas plan that we've been talking about here for the last couple of years. So the modification before you is an adjustment to the language that covers waterborne transportation. The current LRTP long-range plan already has some references to waterborne transportation. However, based on the work of this board and the Waterborne Transportation Subcommittee, we believe that that language needs to be strengthened to really reflect all of the efforts that have been undertaken in the last 2 years here at Forward Pinellas. So last month, this board took action to review a draft vision plan and some additional text to address the waterborne transportation components. So what this action today will do is allow us to adjust the long-range transportation plan to pull all of that information into it, and then that also allows us to continue to explore additional waterborne transportation planning activities in Pinellas County, because it'll now be consistent. So with that, we are looking for a recommendation or an action of approval from this board.
Is there anyone who has any questions at this time for Chelsea? Hearing none.
Question.
Tina? Oh, yes, Michael.
It's just to strengthen and come back to us, like the last meeting we had where it's just to get more information. Or like to research that, am I correct?
So the
You're
action
not
today,
committing anything.
we're not committing to any routes or specific services. This is really just to get the language in the plan so that we can continue planning and spending our dollars on these planning activities. You're welcome.
Anyone else? Tina, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. And with that, I'm looking for a motion.
So
Move
moved.
approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, did you get that? It
Nope.
was Ms. Driscoll, Mrs. Driscoll, and also David Albritton was second. Miss, as a matter of fact.
And this is
And
a
that's a
roll.
roll call vote.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Bujalski?
Aye.
Councilmember Driscoll?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggers?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton? Commissioner Mers?
Yes.
Commissioner Seal?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Noble?
Yes.
And Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
That carries unanimously.
Okay, at this time, we'll start our Pinellas Planning Council hearings, which will be conducted as follows. I will first ask Ford Pinellas staff to present the items, and the applicant local government will be available for questions as needed. Once each presentation is given, we will then ask for proponents of the proposal to speak, then opponents, and finally, any other citizens. We will then hear rebuttal by the applicant as necessary and a staff response or summary. With that, we're going to move to our first would be Nurasheen. How are you?
Good, how are you?
And she will be case number 5C1, which is CW 22-05, and this is a Pinellas County action.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. For the record, Nosheen Rahman, planner with Ford Pinellas, and as Mayor Kennedy mentioned, this is 2205, submitted by Pinellas County. In this case, the county is seeking to amend a property from the residential low-medium category to the residential medium category, and this is for the purpose of allowing for higher density residential uses than is permitted under the current category. The amendment area is located at 5173 28th Street North and 2786 and 2782 52nd Avenue North. So it's a total of 3 parcels that makes up this amendment area and is approximately 0.71 acres in size. Now, all of these parcels are now vacant, but they were formerly the location for 3 single-family homes. And the surrounding uses include other single-family homes and multifamily residential uses. The following is an image of the front of the subject property taken from 52nd Avenue North. Next is east of the subject property, and this is still on 52nd Avenue North. And lastly, an image of the subject property from 28th Street North. This was taken actually right across, or right next to a bus stop that's across the property. The map in front of you shows the current countywide plan map category of residential low-medium, along with the permitted uses and density and intensity standards for the category. And as mentioned, the purpose of this amendment is to allow higher density residential uses than is allowed under the residential low-medium category. Hence, the applicant is requesting an amendment to the residential medium category, which is shown on the map in front of you, along with those permitted uses and density and intensity standards for this category. To conclude, this proposed amendment is appropriate for its intended purpose and is consistent with the locational characteristics for the residential medium category. And on balance, it can be concluded that the proposed amendment is consistent with the relevant countywide considerations contained in Section 6531 of the countywide rules. And in front of you is an analysis of those relevant considerations. And lastly, there were no public comments received for this case, concluding this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasheen. After the first ask for any proponents wishing to be heard, Tina, are there any proponents?
Madam Chair, we have no proponents, opponents, or other citizens to be heard on this matter.
Then I will close the public hearing. I would also like to add that Glenn Bailey is here with the Pinellas County staff if there are any questions for him. And I'm looking if the board has any questions at this time.
Move approval.
And is there a second?
Second.
That was Commissioner, you got that? Okay. And this is not a roll call vote, so that would be all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. You might as well stay up there because you're next with item 5C2, case CW 2206, which is also Pinellas County.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I'm up here for the next 3 presentations today, so I'll be up here.
Yay, I'm glad.
In this case, Pinellas County is seeking to amend a property from the residential low-medium category, this time to the office category. And the purpose of this amendment is to allow for the adaptive reuse of a property in the amendment area for office uses. The property is located on 1961 East Lake Road and is approximately 2.25 acres in size. It does have a vacant building, which was the location of a former private school on the property, and surrounding uses include predominantly single-family residential uses and open space uses in the area. The following is an image of the front of the subject property showing you the existing building in the amendment area. Next, we have north of the subject property showing East Lake Road, and then west of the subject property all the way across. It's a little hard to make out, but there are the single-family residential uses on the other side of East Lake Road here. The map in front of you shows the current countywide plan map category of residential low medium with those permitted uses and density and intensity standards in front of you. And as mentioned, it is the intent of the applicant to allow for the adaptive reuse of this property for office uses. So the proposed category is office with that shown on the countywide plan map in front of you, as well as the permitted uses and density and intensity standards for this category. Now, a good majority of this property, approximately 1.93 acres, is located in the coastal high hazard area, and as you're all aware, this is one of the countywide considerations that we take into account. However, looking further at this case, the underlying local residential density is actually remaining unchanged at 5 units per acre. So at the local level of Pinellas County, the corresponding local category is residential office limited, and the previous category also included a maximum residential density of 5 units per acre. Furthermore, this local future land use amendment is accompanied by a zoning request which would prohibit residential uses entirely on this property, therefore rating the amendment area of the opportunity for residential density. And in general, we find that this proposed amendment does not drastically impact this coastal high hazard area. This amendment area is also located on the scenic non-commercial corridor, which is another one of our countywide considerations, and specifically, it is located within the residential SNCC classification. And normally, under the countywide rules, the office category is not compatible with the residential SNCC classification, but our rules do outline certain criteria for exceptions, and we found that this case does meet those exceptions. This includes the size and configuration of the proposed amendment being de minimis in relationship to its frontage and the length of the affected SNCC. In this case, the affected roadway is East Lake Road, and we find that this 2.25 acre amendment is de minimis when compared to the entirety of the East Lake Road corridor. And furthermore, the non-residential density will actually reduce from 0.3 FAR or floor area ratio to 0.2 FAR due to that underlying local future land use category. So we're actually reducing the intensity that's allowed on this property. And the main purpose of the residential SNCC classification is to maintain those uses which are low intensity in their nature, and we find that this proposed amendment maintains that characteristic of the SNCC classification. To conclude, the proposed amendment is appropriate for the intended purpose and is consistent with the locational characteristics for the office category, and on balance, it can be concluded that the proposed amendment is consistent with the relevant countywide considerations contained in Section 6531 of the countywide rules. In front of you are those usual considerations. And lastly, there were also no public comments for this case, concluding my second presentation out of 4.
Thank you, Nasheen. We asked first for any proponents wishing to be heard. Tina?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have Mr. Todd Pressman wishing to address the board today.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Hi, Todd.
Board members, Todd Pressman, 202nd Avenue South, number 425 in St. Pete, Florida. I'll keep this very short. Staff report was outstanding. One of the major considerations is that the adjacent property is one of the Pinellas County fire stations. And in speaking with Mr. Gennaro, their deputy chief, they run anywhere from 3.5 runs per 24 hours up as high as 12 or 13, which we felt was very clearly not a really good residential neighbor and one of the driving forces. So along with the other comments from your staff, which again I thought were outstanding, I'll leave you with that point. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I will add, through the entire process up to date, we've had, that I recall, no opposition, no calls or letters that I'm aware of. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Tina, are there any more proponents or opponents?
No, Madam Chair, there are no additional folks wishing to speak on this topic.
I will close the public hearing, and I'm looking for any questions from the board at this time. Yes, Commissioner?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I guess Nasheen. I was going to make the comment that the property to the south was a firehouse, but Todd already did that. So there's a whole bunch of trees to the east end of this property. Is that any preservation area there, or are they all subject to removal?
If I could ask Pete to pull up the presentation again, we can look at the map and see what the surrounding area is.
And the other question is, what's the, it's 2 acres, so that's about 90,000 square feet. So in typical terms, I'm thinking about 20,000 square foot building. So is there any limitation in that from a height standpoint, floor standpoint, any of that comes into play under? That'd be the other questions.
I'll answer your first question.
Yep.
You can see in that surrounding area, it's all residential low medium. There's no preservation until later. And Todd is coming up in a timely manner because he's the best person to answer the height question.
Okay.
We have had the site conceptually engineered, and the greatest yield with all the wetlands was about 5,000 square feet of office would be permissible. We had Robert Pergolesi with Sunshine Consulting develop that for us. That was a conceptual because the property is heavily in the rear wetland.
Okay.
And wooded. So that was one of the first things we did to see what we could do realistically with the yield.
So square footage of the acreage of the land has nothing to do with what really can be put there. So you're talking closer to 5,000 feet.
Yeah, yeah, and that's going to be.
So it's single story.
A two-story may be possible on square footage, but it's much more likely it'll be just single story.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Move approval.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to 5C3, KCW 2207, Pinellas County. Again, Nushin.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. In this case, also submitted by Pinellas County, the county is seeking to amend a property, this time from the residential low-medium category to the retail and services category, and the purpose of this amendment is to allow for retail uses. The property is located at 90 20th Terrace Southwest with an area size of approximately 0.33 acres. It is currently vacant with surrounding uses including single-family residential, multifamily residential, and other retail uses along the corridor. The following is an image of the front of the subject property. Next, an image of the west of the subject property, and just beyond those trees are some of the multifamily uses I mentioned, primarily apartments. And lastly, an image of the north of the subject property, giving you a glimpse of the single-family residential uses in the area. The map in front of you shows the current countywide plan map category of residential low-medium with the permitted uses and density and intensity standards listed in front of you. And as mentioned, it is the intent of the applicant to allow for retail uses on the property, hence the proposed amendment to retail and services. The specific uses of the property aren't yet identified, but will be done so at the local level through a site plan analysis, but the countywide plan map category amendment would essentially facilitate that process and allow it to happen. And in front of you, again, are the permitted uses and density and intensity standards of the category. To conclude, the proposed amendment is appropriate for its intended purpose and is consistent with the locational characteristics for the retail and services category. And on balance, it can be concluded that the proposed amendment is consistent with the relevant countywide considerations contained in Section 6531 of the countywide rules. The slide here shows those relevant countywide considerations. And lastly, there were also no public comments for this case, concluding this presentation.
Thank you. Tina, do we have any proponents wishing to be heard?
No, Madam Chair, we do not have any proponents, opponents, or other citizens to be heard on this case.
Then we will close. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to come up and speak on this item?
I don't know if you have any questions to ask me. I don't.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to go to that right now, and then if they do, I'll bring you up. How's that? Okay, thank you, ma'am. We'll close the public hearing, and is there anyone on the board who has any questions? Michael?
It's not a question, it's more a comment. That's in our city activity zone, just to let the board members know for the city. And also, we're also looking on the opposite side of the street at an affordable housing development possibly coming in that area off of by 21st Avenue. So just to put that on everybody's radar.
Very nice, okay. Are there any other questions for the board at this time? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Who was second? I didn't. Councilmember Driscoll? Okay. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are on item 5C4, KCW 2208, Pinellas County, Nushin.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This last
all
This last case is also submitted by Pinellas County, and in this case, the county is seeking to amend properties from the residential rural and recreation open space category to recreation open space and residential rural. And before anybody gets too confused, the purpose of this amendment is essentially to switch the classifications of the two amendment areas involved in this case. The parcels are of equal size, and this is in order to allow a single-family residential home on one of the parcels. And I'll walk the board through some of the mechanics of that, because this case is a little different than what we usually see. But the properties are located at 2669 St. Andrews Boulevard, and the two properties in total are 2.86 acres in size, but equally they are just 1.43 acres each. Both properties are vacant with surrounding uses including predominantly recreation open space and single-family residential. Now, because this was part of a gated community, I wasn't able to get into the neighborhood and take the usual pictures that I do, but it's actually more beneficial for this case for us to look at the aerial images of the property. So the first image here is the northern portion of the amendment area, which is currently designated residential rural and is proposed for the recreation open space category. This portion of the amendment area is actually part of a golf course in the community. And the next image shows an aerial image of the southern portion of the property, or the southern amendment area. And this is currently designated recreation open space and is proposed for residential rural. And as you can see, this is right on a row of existing single-family homes. And essentially, it is the purpose of this amendment to allow for the home to be built on this property instead of the northern property, since the northern property is part of a golf course, and naturally a house fits more characteristically into this area. So showing the map as a whole, again, in front of you is the current countywide plan map category with the residential rural currently at the northern portion and recreation open space on their southern portion. And the next map shows the same thing, but with the density and intensity standards and permitted uses for the recreation open space category. And to show you what it would look like as the proposed countywide plan map category, you can see that the two have been switched, creating a sort of unified line of residential rural designations along the southern portion, and the recreation open space being designated to the northern portion, fitting in more naturally with the golf course use that it is currently at. So to conclude, the proposed amendment is appropriate for its intended purpose and is consistent with the locational characteristics for the recreation open space and residential rural categories. And on balance, it can be concluded that the proposed amendment is consistent with the relevant countywide considerations contained in section 6531 of the countywide rules. And again, in front of you are those relevant considerations. And lastly, there were also no public comments for this case, concluding this presentation.
Thank you. We will first ask for any proponents wishing to be heard. Tina, are there any?
Madam Chair, everyone that signed in for this case indicated they're available as needed for questions.
Okay. I'll close the public hearing. Is there any board member who has a question at this time? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we will move on to 6A, which is the presentations and/or action items. And our first one is PSTA activity report by Council Member Driscoll.
Thank you. The PSTA board met on March 30th, 2022. Some highlights from that meeting include an agreement being reached with our PSTA bus operators and SEIU, which is the union that represents them. There was an important discussion that was held about market level compensation for PSTA employees. And given the need to create more jobs with livable wages and the extreme inflation that we're seeing right now, PSTA opened a wage discussion with SEIU, which resulted in a new wage structure and in PSTA bus operators now being the highest paid bus operators in the state of Florida. PSTA is certain that this is an equitable and important move for the agency to demonstrate the value that we have for our frontline workers. PSTA continues to hire and train new operators in preparation for the opening of the Sunrunner. So if anyone knows anyone who is interested in joining that team, please encourage them to apply. Regarding the Clearwater Multimodal Transit Center, PSTA has now officially submitted its application for a $20 million Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, otherwise known as RAISE, grant for the Multimodal Center. This funding will match the local investments committed by the City of Clearwater, FDOT, Forward Pinellas, and PSTA for the project, which totals $34.4 million. Based on our discussions with USDOT and the project justification scores that we received last year when we applied and were unsuccessful, the adjustments that have been made in the financial plan and in the entire application, we're confident that this year will be successful, and I look forward to celebrating that personally. It's something that we've been trying for quite some time. I believe Pinellas County we've made several attempts, and I think this year we've got a winner, right, Dave? AVA, our Autonomous Vehicle Advantage Shuttle, had an extremely successful stint in Clearwater Beach for spring break, and will be going back to Dunedin very soon. Lots of great attendance or ridership during spring break overall. PSTA had a great March with about 900,000 riders. We're seeing some routes come back close to pre-pandemic levels. And although as a whole, we're still working to come back 100%. So we're looking forward to a great April as we continue spring break season with the Sugar Sand Festival. That is all I have for that board meeting. Our next board meeting will be held on April 27th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That is awesome. I see Cassandra in the audience. Is there anything you want to add today since you're here about PSTA? Okay, good deal. We're going to skip item 6B and we'll move on to 6C, the quarterly communications report presented by Ms. Amy Elmore. If you'd like to come forward.
As Amy is coming up, I just wanted to remind the board members that we heard from you last month when we adopted the Equity Action Plan about ways to ensure that we're getting out there in the community and talking to as many people as possible. We also have our long-range transportation plan update starting this summer. So there's a lot that we have to learn from and communicate with the public about. So Amy, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Whit. So as Whit mentioned, this is Amy Elmore, Communications and Outreach Manager for Forward Pinellas, for the record. But as Whit mentioned, we had an excellent discussion last month about how we can really be inclusive and equitable and reach people where they are by telling that Forward Pinellas story. And so I wanted to give you a quick summary today of some of the outreach that we've been doing just over the past quarter. You may notice that each month you've been receiving communications reports, but this really takes that a step further so that we're not just talking about where we are right now, but we're also talking about where we want to go and how we're going to get there. So in your agenda packet, you will see a more detailed report outlining some of those objectives. But here we have a communications and outreach summary from the last quarter, and I'd like to highlight just a couple of things today. So since January, we have reached 121,000 people on our social media channels. We have been highlighted in 32 plus news articles and stories. We have created the e-newsletters monthly, which I hope you're all receiving. If not, reach out to me. I'm happy to take care of that. And we've also created 15 campaigns. With our events, we've worked with a lot of different local, regional, and state partners to have some wonderful events this past quarter, including, as Mayor Kennedy mentioned, the wonderful Bike Your City in the city of Gulfport. We also did school crossing guard appreciation days with both the Clearwater Police Department and the St. Pete Police Department. Which Councilmember Floyd was able to join us for, which was wonderful, and Councilmember Albritton was also able to join us for. We also did a trail safety day in the city of Dunedin that was very popular and gave us some wonderful information. For educational outreach this past quarter, we presented at the Pinellas County Schools In-Service Day to talk with teachers about our City by Design planning curriculum, which we created this past year, and how to get that curriculum into our classrooms. So we had a lot of teachers very interested in moving forward with that. We also created the Bike Safety Teacher Toolkit so that over 500 students were able to celebrate Florida Bike Month. Now, we know that we're certainly not done. We've got a long ways to go. We want to make sure that moving forward, we're working more with our business communities and partners. We're working with our community leaders, and we're able to highlight some of those initiatives that they're doing and support their community outreach, while also getting some of our Safe Streets work into the community. But with that, I'd love to open it up for your thoughts and ideas on how we can keep moving forward with our outreach.
Any questions or comments for Amy today? Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to share with you something that I shared with Whit. I really see your social media a lot. You guys are doing an excellent job with that. It's sharp, it's interesting. It looks like it has a great reach, it's relatable. And so I just wanted to pass along my my compliments on that.
Thank you.
And I also told Whit that he does a pretty good job on his social media as well. And I'd love to see him blend into the Forward Pinellas socials a little bit, just to kind of personalize it a little bit more. I can't say that he agreed to do that, but I'm just putting it out there to your universe to consider, because I see a really cool overlap that could be happening there. But it's really good. Not everyone has social media that's worth following, but yours is really on point. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Driscoll. And yes, I'll get with Whit later about how we can incorporate that more, because he does have some good singers every now and then.
I'm happy to add sunrise and dog pictures all day long. The bicycle pictures, yeah.
That really is.
I will say too, I really related last month. Commissioner Eggers, you mentioned something wonderful about, yes, we can get people to the table. We can, actually reach these people, but how do we make them want to follow us and want to get involved with us, and that why behind some of these land use cases, and different projects that we're doing. So I hope that moving forward, we can continue to show that why and bring people to Forward Pinellas.
I'd like to mention that Mayor Kennedy and I have gone out to, about 6 or 7 local governments thus far, continuing that process. And we're just providing a little bit of an update of what we're working on, what transportation projects are happening this year or next year. And we get some good feedback. We were in Clearwater last week. We'll be in Safety Harbor on Monday. We've been bouncing around the county pretty well. We were at the Big C the other day. And I think that's an opportunity. A lot of these meetings are televised. I know when I was in Clearwater, there was, 150 people in the room because of a school being built. So they were subjected to my presentation, and they might not have otherwise seen that. But these are on local media. So we try to get out there and get our name out there of who we are. And we did a media interview this morning on Safe Streets Pinellas. You may have seen the tragic fatality that happened in Oldsmar with a child crossing the street there in Oldsmar, and that was just really sad. The community has won a grant from us to address that corridor, and a lot of people in the audience were questioning, well, we don't want to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years for a safety improvement. What can be done immediately? So that was the subject of the interview today. How can we move more quickly on safety issues like that? And that's something that we're working with FDOT on. We're working with Pinellas County on to identify those hotspots. But when I go to the local governments and I give my little presentation, one of the things I always try to include in there is, please let us know if you have transportation issues or concerns that we need to look at. We may not be the entity that will do something about it, but we can bring it to the right agency's attention. We can provide technical assistance. We can do all those things, and I hope that's helping.
Councilmember Driscoll, you are so right, and I know on Instagram, I always try to make a comment, and I was thinking that if you're at an event, take a picture, put it on your Facebook. I've noticed the really beefed up that we are getting more communication in the last few months on all this different, now, I'm not real good on all the social media, but I do try to make a comment. So if any of you are on social media, make a comment or like or love or whatever. And if you see something that you're interested in, put it on your Facebook, if you're at an event, because that really, it gives the opportunity for the citizens and residents of Pinellas County to get to know our organization. So,
Absolutely.
And Amy,
that's a
you're
great
doing,
idea.
the whole group is doing just wonderful. Thank
It's
you.
definitely a team effort. That
Any
is for
other
sure.
questions or comments for Amy today? Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
This is 6D PPC and MPO annual audit presented by Julie Davis and Justin Twig. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Davis. I'm a shareholder with Rivero Gordimer & Company. This is Justin Twig. He's a supervisor in our office. And we're pleased to present the results of your 2021 audit of both the Pinellas Planning Council and the MPO with you all today. Going over our first results is that we are here to present the results of the MPO and the PPC combined. All of these results go over both of them together. When we need to, we will call out individual organizations as needed. First off, I want to say that our team consisted of myself as the engagement administrator. We have Chris Terragino, another shareholder in our office. He is the quality control shareholder. Justin Twig is a supervisor. He was responsible for overseeing the entire audit process and overseeing our staff assigned Dwayne Tucker. I also want to take the time to thank all the staff at Forward Pinellas. It's a lot of work to get through one audit, let alone 2 audits. So I just really want to thank Whit, Rebecca, Margie, everyone, including CLA, your outsourced accountants. It takes a lot of effort to get through this process, and we're pleased to be here today to present these results. Our audit results on your financial statements are an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion. It means that your financial statements are materially stated. We had full cooperation from everyone at Forward Pinellas, and we had full access to all the books and records. Our responsibility as a part of the audit process is that our audit is performed under generally accepted auditing standards, which means that our objective is to provide reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, that your financial statements are free from material misstatement. And what that really means is that we don't look at everything. We do a risk-based audit approach, which is required under our professional standards. We do risk assessment, we do testing of transactions, we use sampling to come to our conclusions today. Our audits were also performed under government auditing standards, which means we also take a dive into looking at compliance with laws and rules and contracts of both organizations. For the MPO particularly, your audit's also performed under the uniform guidance. It's a single audit. So we dive into your grants in a much more detail than a regular audit and looking at compliance and making sure that you're spending the money appropriately in accordance with your grant agreements as well as the uniform guidance. And we're pleased to report that we had no findings on any of our compliance audits. We also review internal accounting controls. We review them to the extent necessary to render our opinions. We do test internal controls, let alone on the financial side, but also with compliance to ensure that controls are properly operating. And we're pleased to report that we had no material weaknesses noted this year. On our other matters page, this is all of our required communications. You are those charged with governance for Forward Pinellas for both entities, and these are part of our professional standards that we're required to communicate to you all. I'm glad to report that if we had anything to report here, you would have already heard from us. So we would not be here presenting the results without already talking to you all about it. We had no illegal acts noted. We noted no fraud in your financial statements, no significant changes in accounting policies or procedures, no uncorrected misstatements, and no consultations with other auditors. You'll note that there is an adjusting journal entry. That's a normal reoccurring entry that's been done for years. It's related to the pension. That information doesn't come until we're really far along into the audit process. And so with that, those are adjustments that are made as part of the audit process. And just some items of note, things that are coming up. Next fiscal year is leases. Anyone on the government side, you've probably heard about GASB 87. Anyone on the private side, you've heard about leases on the FASB side. Both of these standards are pretty much in line together. They're written very similarly. Looking at the financial statements for Forward Pinellas will help the staff, as well as working with CLA, to evaluate the leases, particularly your lease with the county for your office space. That may impact the Pinellas Planning Council's financials, but it won't be a significant impact overall, is what we're anticipating. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin. He's going to briefly go over some of the financial numbers for you all today.
Thank you, Julie. As Julie mentioned, my name is Justin. I served as the in-charge auditor on the Forward Pinellas audits. I am a supervisor at the firm, and I've been there for about 6 years. And I must say it is nice to be able to put some faces to the names that I've dealt with through email and through the mail over the last couple of years. So we'll start on page 5. The Planning Council had a total of about $1.8 million in assets and deferred outflows of resources. That is a decrease of about $380,000 from 2020. The main area that changed was the deferred outflows of resources, and that decreased by about $380,000. The main reason for that decrease was investments in the FRS pension plan performing better than expected, and therefore that number went down. The MPO had a total of about $1.7 million in assets, and that is an increase of about $36,000 from 2020. The main area that changed were, or the main areas, were cash and cash equivalents, which decreased by about $402,000, and accounts receivable, which increased by about $439,000. Both of those are related, and they're related to the Q2 invoices for the Florida Department of Transportation. In 2020, they were received prior to year end. In 2021, they were received subsequent to year end. Moving on to the next page, the Planning Council had a total of about $4.8 million in liabilities and deferred inflows of resources, and that is a decrease of about $442,000 from 2020. The main areas that changed were the net pension and OPEB liability, as well as deferred inflows of resources. The pension and OPEB liability decreased by about $1.4 million, and the deferred inflows of resources increased by about $934,000. Again, both of these changes are due to the financial position of the FRS pension plan improving during 2021, and that's mainly related to investment returns being higher than expected. In 2020, the FRS pension plan investments saw a return of about 3.08%, and that's compared to 29.46% in 2021. This left the council with a negative net position of about $2.9 million, and that's an improvement of $62,000 from 2020. The MPO had a total of $637,000 in liabilities, and that is an increase of about $177,000 from 2020. The increase is mainly related to the timing of payments to the Planning Council for payroll and other administrative services that were rendered. That left the MPO with a net position of approximately $1.1 million, and that is a decrease of $36,000 from 2020, which we'll discuss on the next page. So looking at page 7, the Planning Council had a total change in net position of about $62,000, and that is an increase of $389,000 from 2020. The main area that changed were expenses, and that change was a decrease of about $428,000. The main reason behind that was, again, the pension plan. This year, you recognized a net pension benefit rather than a net pension expense, which reduced the amount of total expenses for the council. The MPO saw a total decrease in net position of $141,000, and that was a decrease of about $267,000 from 2020. The main area that changed were program revenues or grant revenues, which decreased by about $750,000 due to funding changes that occurred between 2020 and 2021. Specifically, the PL funds, the funding for that grant decreased by about $264,000 from 2020. The funding for the Bay Pier grant decreased by about $413,000, and that's just due to activities related to the services performed on that job decreasing during the year. And then lastly, the Downtown St. Pete Mobility Grant saw a decrease in funds of about $196,000. And that is all we have, so I will turn it back over to Mayor Kennedy.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board at this time? Well, you can't get any better than that. Okay. Tina, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on the audit?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
So we will look for an action from the board. Is there a motion?
Move to accept.
Okay, so we're going to have Commissioner Edgars and then Commissioner Seal. All right. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We will move on to item 6E, which is Complete Streets Grant Program Recommendation. And we do have action on that, and that's going to be presented by Angela.
Hello again. Good afternoon. Angela Ryan for the record. Today I'm going to provide a presentation on the 2021 grant applications from the Call of Projects for the Complete Streets Grant Program. And here we are. And just to first frame the Complete Streets Grant Program, we are in our 6th year of the competitive program. We do seek applications from local municipalities and the county government. It is a subcommittee that consists of members of our local planning community that actually weigh in on these applications. We typically provide a presentation to our technical coordinating committee and some other committees to develop a robust subcommittee to evaluate these applications fairly. And we do have 2 different grants that we provide. We have a $100,000 concept planning grant and a $1 million construction grant. The whole objective of the Complete Streets program, aside from creating safer roadways, is also to leverage transportation to bring about transformative land use changes and opportunities within our communities. And of course, just to frame Complete Streets, they are essentially safety improvements for everyone. They are to address all modes of travel within a transportation corridor. There's not one single special design that constitutes a complete streets project. It's truly just to create a corridor that discourages dangerous behavior and encourages safety within the roadway. And thereby, when people do have, distracted driving or other behavior, those behaviors do not as drastically impact other users on the roadway corridor. And we did receive a total of 5 applications. We received extremely well written, comprehensive, excellent applications all across the board. We have 3 concept plan applications. They are from the City of St. Pete Beach, who requested $70,000 for their downtown redevelopment district complete streets network project. Pinellas County Housing and Development, who requested $50,000 for the Whitney Road complete streets planning project. And the City of St. Petersburg, who requested the full $100,000 for their Southern Skyway Marina District Complete Streets Planning Project. And out of these 3 applications, the subcommittee did determine, and that's for a vote today for everyone here, to award $65,000 for the City of St. Pete Beach, and then $35,000 for the Pinellas County Housing and Development application. And I'm going to go through each of these applications. And just to highlight each of the projects that we received an application for, I'm going to start with the St. Pete Beach Downtown Redevelopment District Complete Streets Network project. And this area is seeing a demographic shift in the residents where they're seeing more, actually a slightly younger demographic with longer than seasonal or tourist, I can't think of the word, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Perfect. Yes, and exactly, inhabitants. And then essentially, the baseline data in this area demonstrated that there is not walkability, there's not bikeability, there's not a lot of connectivity in this area for people to travel within this corridor safely. And the survey that they provided to the public indicated that the people that are now these inhabitants, the citizens, residents, et cetera, they want these features within their community. And as such, the whole goal of this application is to create this new redevelopment potential and to bolster economic development through walkability and through increasing connections within this corridor. And the Whitney Road Complete Streets Planning Project. This project area is located on Whitney Road, as you can see here on the map. It's on and its east-west connection is bound from US 19 to the west to 58th Street north to the east. The project purpose is to increase residential growth and bolster economic development and improve access for vulnerable populations. The intent of this application is to create these important sustainable multimodal connections within this area. There's a large amount of a multifamily within this area that does not currently have safe access to the PSTA routes within this area or the local Pinellas, actually it's the Duke Energy Trail. So it's part of the Pinellas Trail Loop. And this project would essentially develop this essential community dialogue as well as the technical feasibility options to determine what complete streets project would be appropriate for this context. The project is located within an environmental justice area, and it has been emphasized in the Largo Tri-City Special Area Plan and the Gateway Planning Area. And this is the application that was not chosen this year from the City of St. Petersburg. And it's the Southern Skyway Marina District Complete Streets Planning Concept application. And it would essentially constitute roadway modifications that you can see here on the map, which are in the Skyway Marina District, and it's within the south planning area of the city. And there's a disconnected trail and bike network in this area, as well as disconnected sidewalks. And the impetus of this project would be to create a concept plan that would provide a 0.8 mile segment of 31st Street between 54th Avenue South and Pinellas Point Drive. So that would be those connections that you can see on the map there. The project application also indicated that it would facilitate this important conversation with the public to analyze different project designs that would be favorable for the safety context as well as the community that surrounds in this part of St. Petersburg. The project goals fit similar to our other applications is to create vibrancy and improved quality of life for citizens within and residents and tourists within this area of the county. And just to reiterate, we did have 2 awards for the concept. We have that first application for the St. Pete Beach for $65,000 and the Whitney Road for Pinellas County of $35,000 that are going to be decided today. And for our construction applications, we only received 2 applications this year. Again, both extremely well-written, high-quality applications. This was a very competitive year. We have Pinellas County Public Works that requested $966,000 for their 62nd Avenue North Complete Streets construction project, and the City of St. Petersburg that requested the full $1 million for the 5th Avenue South Complete Streets project. And it was the Pinellas County Public Works project, in this case, that the subcommittee chose. Out of the 2 applications, they chose to fund this full application for the construction grant. I'm going to walk through these 2 applications. And first, the 62nd Avenue North Complete Streets project, as you can see here on the image on the screen, it's currently a 4-lane corridor. The baseline is currently a 2-way, 2-lane rural corridor. It's a 1.2 mile long section of roadway with no bike lanes and discontinuous sidewalks. It is located within an environmental justice area. This particular project has been able to demonstrate that they have vital PSTA services within this particular area and inadequate access for pedestrians, cyclists, as well as I've indicated transit. This area is of critical importance because it is within the Safe Streets Pinellas high injury area. It is actually a hotspot for the Safe Streets Pinellas crash mapping process, where we have a high amount of crashes, specifically 361 crashes just within the last 5 years along this corridor. And the project would propose improvements that are demonstrated here on the screen, which I think is a really great depiction of the project. And that's these buffered bike lanes, an 8-foot sidewalk, and 2 pedestrian areas for crossing. Also, the project has been demonstrated to be a catalyst for economic development, as this area has also multifamily homes as well as a low-income population, and this project would provide for access to basic necessities such as education and employment within this part of the county. And 5th Avenue South Complete Streets project. This is the 4-lane undivided city street. That is the current corridor. It actually goes through a light industrial area. It currently has no bike lanes, crosswalks, and lack of on-street parking. The transformational changes would be to reduce the lanes and have a 2-lane roadway with continuous bike lanes and on-street parking. This project was recommended from the Warehouse Arts District Deuces Live Joint Action Plan. It is also located within an environmental justice area and has demonstrated that it has an existing PSTA route. And this project does have important connectivity with the Pinellas Trail and other future planned bicycle routes by the City of St. Petersburg. And that's a depiction on the screen of the project as designed. And today for vote, I'm providing these applications, and the applications that are awarded are going to go forward where we will have July 1st. The concept plans will be awarded, and the construction projects will be added to the priority list. So today I am going to ask, I'm going to go back to the concept so everybody has a visual that the concept plan applications are approved, as well as the construction applications.
We can take this as one vote, or we can take it as separate votes. It's up to you, Mayor.
I think we'll take it as one vote, Angela. Just one comment, and at this time, the board can make comments too. I spoke with Whit the other day, and there will be Safe Street and roads for all grant programs from the federal level, $5 billion. And many of you have seen it. If you're not, we can get you this email so that you see this. And Whit and I were talking about the programs and possibly, not only the grants that didn't get the funding or full funding, we might be able to work with them. So that would be great for St. Pete on both of those projects, but also in recruiting the other cities who are not a part of Safe Streets, finding projects that they think would be good for their communities, because if there's $5 billion out there, we might as well try to see what we can do for our county. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Whit.
No, the only thing I would like to add is that the concept planning is really to get community buy-in and community consensus. It's to develop a concept, have a lot of robust outreach, and then have some sort of favorable action by the local government to advance the project. And ultimately, we hope they apply for construction funding down the road. And that's what we've done, I think, successfully with most of our other complete streets. In some cases, the concepts have gotten into a little bit of difficulty getting that consensus, and so they haven't advanced. I can think of at least one. But I think for the other concept awards, they've all done pretty well in advancing and eventually getting in line for some funding. The construction dollars we put in our transportation improvement program, so we have to work with the department on making those funds available, and they're not available for the next 5 years, typically. Although this year we do expect more money to come through formula programs, so we may be able to advance some things. And then, as you mentioned, with the federal grants, next month we have the Notice of Funding Opportunity for Safe Streets for All. And particularly for a construction project like Fifth Avenue South or something like that, I think we should be able to work with city or county or other staff to advance some of these projects as part of an application. Our only concern is we have limited capacity as staff, and we want to make sure we've got a good partnership with whatever local government so that we can work together on a really good joint application.
Awesome. Any other comments from the board? Anyone? Okay. With that, Tina, are there any members of the public who would wish to speak on the Complete Streets Grant Program?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion. Is there a second? Okay, Jean, you got that? Councilmember Driscoll was second. Okay. And then we'll do all in favor?
Mayor Kennedy, I just have a question.
Yes.
It's more concept. The Whitney concept plan, or the complete street. I like that. Could I get more information about that? Maybe my city can look around and see what we can do with that. I think that's an opportunity in an area that needs to be improved. So if I can get more information, I'd really appreciate it.
I'd be happy to supply that information. And Joan Rice is actually here, and she would be the expert, but I'll be happy to connect that information with you and Joan. Gladly. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor, that was good. That's what I want to see that. That's what we want to see. That's awesome. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And I'm going to turn this over to Whit, our wonderful Executive Director, on the Director's Report.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I have just a few items here for you. I'll start with our spotlight emphasis area. Not a whole lot to update you on right now, but I did want to share a couple things. Mayor Bajowski has been very determined to get our Causeway Boulevard and Honeymoon Island park improvements done. And I know she's catching a lot of grief for the construction that's happening out there during season. Unfortunately, I think it was it was unavoidable on our part, and I think that's just sometimes how things go. The Division of State Parks has confirmed that they'll be completing the entrance to Honeymoon Island State Park in July. We had hoped it would have been done in March, and we would have avoided some of the worst of the peak season. And unfortunately, people are impacted out there, but I do think that it's going to help, and sometimes you just got to do it when you can do it. We are going to be, I will be writing a letter to the Division of State Parks to request state funding for the turnaround, the roundabout at the end of Dunedin Causeway. The state parks really want it. They really want that turnaround because what they are saying now is that with the expanded entrance during peak beach days, peak park days, they may have to close the parking lot as it fills up, and it may be closed for 2 or 3 hours. I'm not sure how long it'll be closed, and in that event, if you're in that queue, they want to be able to facilitate that turnaround. That is on state property, it's on park property. It's not part of Pinellas County's corridor. It's part of the corridor, but it's not in Pinellas County per se. And we cannot spend federal and state funds on that improvement. So I'll write that letter. We'll see. In the past, they've said no to that funding, but we have a new division director, so I'm hopeful that we can make the case for that. The other improvements are in line to be completed in FY23 and FY24. I know Mayor has asked for those to be consolidated and done at the same time. We're continuing to work with county staff and FDOT staff to see if we can facilitate a joint construction schedule so people are disrupted as minimally as possible on that. In addition to that, we've met with some department staff that are now taking over responsibility for the US 19 frontage roads project and the innovative intersections project that we were discussing a couple of years ago. Candidly, that languished for the better part of a year, and we were struggling to get much traction or information, particularly on the innovative intersections project. But we have a new project manager assigned, and they are committed to working diligently with this, and our schedule is to bring back the frontage roads project once it's been fully vetted by the department internally. Sometime, I'm hopeful maybe by the summer, at the worst it'll be this fall. And then we are still planning to have a workshop on the innovative intersections, but we are sort of getting the consultant back engaged and getting some of that data developed so that we have a full information ready before we commit to having that workshop. So I did want to let you know that it's back, it's working its way through. We were a little bit stalled there, and I'm confident now that we've got the right leadership in place to move that ahead. The third thing on here is the Gulf Boulevard safety and accessibility improvements. And I was hoping I'd be able to tell you that we were underway with our Gulf Boulevard safety projects through St. Pete Beach and Treasure Island. But those had a little bit of delay as the contract agreements got reviewed. And then we have a current situation with our procurement that we have some uncertainty about the ability to use our existing planning consultants because of a change in federal and state rulemaking regarding disadvantaged and minority business enterprises. And I'm not completely fully sure myself, and we don't have an answer yet from Federal Highway and Federal Transit Administration. We have a meeting scheduled on April 25th, and once we have that meeting, we should have that resolved and we should be able to proceed. I'm hopeful with our planning work at least for the next year or so, but we may need to do a new procurement of our planning consultants sometime within the next year or so. We'd like to push that off as long as possible because we have a lot of consultants that we procured. It takes a lot of time and effort, and we haven't gotten to all of them and shared that work as much as we had hoped. These are 6-year agreements, and we're only at the end of year 2. I'm hopeful that we won't have to re-advertise, but we'll see. In addition to that, I had a meeting with the Big C last week with Mayor Kennedy and Commissioner Cinda Crook of Reddington Shores came up to me, and they would like to look at some safety improvements on Gulf Boulevard in their city. They have shared lane markings and on-street parking, and they would like to be consistent with the bike lane to the south. And those shared lane markings are not great on Gulf Boulevard because it's a relatively higher speed road, and there's just you're riding in the lane with traffic. So that's something, Jensen, that I'll bring back to the department. We're going to meet with her in a couple of weeks and see what we can do, and then see what interest they have in advancing something there. Any questions on any of those spotlight items? Otherwise, we do have a meeting on our target employment industrial lands study with the consultant coming up soon, and that work is progressing pretty well, so I'm encouraged. Yes, Mayor.
I just wanted to say thank you for all your assistance in coordinating, because I'm sure you can imagine between City of Dunedin, Forward Pinellas, county, state, and anybody else who's involved, it's like herding cats. So I just wanted to say a special thank you to Whit for always picking up when I call, because if I were him, I think I wouldn't do it.
I haven't let it go to voicemail yet. All right. We'll keep going. The Legislative Committee met earlier today, and I thought had a pretty good discussion. The session's over. It ended back on March 14th, but we wanted to run through a few of the bills that we expect the governor to sign and that will affect our planning abilities here. Senate Bill 962 in particular does somewhat undermine our preservation of industrial land. I have had conversations with some of the local government staff around the county who are receiving inquiries and some pressure from land development interests who are now looking at industrial land because they see some opportunity that the legislature has now given them for cheap land to build housing. And this last bill reduces the percentage of affordable housing to only 10%, compared to House Bill 1339 that they just passed in 2020, which was 100% affordable housing if you were going to develop on industrial land. It doesn't mandate that the local government approve that project or any such project. It just mandates that we can't intervene and deny the project because we're preserving industrial land. It doesn't preclude a local government from raising the threshold of what percentage has to be affordable housing. So I know at least one director is hoping to put off those actions at that local government until our TEALS update is done and we have more information on the relative value and the relative worthiness of preserving our industrial lands around the county. And I'm hopeful that other local governments will take that direction, but we can't force them to wait. That law would likely go into effect July 1st. And it doesn't need any local ordinance to make it happen.
Can I ask a quick question
sure.
of that, Whit? You're saying it limits it to 10%?
It requires a floor of 10% affordable housing, but that it doesn't mean that you couldn't go above that.
But you don't have to have a local regulation that says you're going to go over 10%. Obviously, you know why I'm interested.
Right. I think if you wanted to go above that, you would probably need to adopt your local ordinance to do that, if you wanted to require something more than 10%.
And you're going to have your study done in the fall, right?
Yes, we expect to have it done before the end of the year, by November.
That'll be cutting it close for us, probably. But okay, thank you.
And we'll bring updates as that goes along. Maybe through the summer, we'll have an update on some of the preliminary findings and some recommendations.
Whit,
Yes.
Karen has a question for you.
Yes, Commissioner Seal.
Sorry, it was back to your spotlight update. And I was going to put this in an email, but I thought while everybody was here, I just kind of wanted to go on record. When we talked about the frontage roads on US 19, I think the consensus of this group was that we didn't want to lose roads, the frontage roads. So we don't want to go down to one lane or no lanes. So I wanted to make sure DOT knew that the MPO Forward Pinellas felt that way. And then we also, when we looked at the innovative intersections, we also said we needed commonality, that you do not want to put a different kind of intersection at each roadway on US 19. So I think we still need to be very careful about that. And while we have kind of said, well, I haven't said this, but the consensus is to look at the intersections versus overpasses, but that decision has not been fully made by this board.
Right, that's correct.
Thank you.
And to be clear, there was some confusion on the part of the department. I don't know why, because I've never said this, they tested Curlew Road and Tampa Road as at-grade intersections, something we have never, ever said we were interested in.
No, we have not said that.
So there was
I know.
a lack.
It's like, come on, can we just get these things? They've been under construction supposedly for 20 years.
So they told us none of this would work because those two intersections failed. And I was like, wait a minute, we never told you to look at those intersections. We wanted to look at Klosterman, Alderman, and Tarpon Avenue, those three, because Nebraska is going to be affected by Tampa Road.
Correct.
And they're too close. So if you're going to build an interchange at Tampa, you're going to have to cross over Nebraska. So we're good with all that, and we think those are needed. They're the number one and number two crash locations in the county. And they have a significant congestion backlog. The issue, as I see it, is you have a big old lake over here, so there's an opportunity for plenty of green time to move traffic on US 19 because you don't have the same east-west movements in those corridors. But that's what this evaluation is. We're still at a planning level. We're not at a design level. It will vet the project, those concepts from a planning standpoint. And if they don't work, that's what we'll tell you. If they do work, then that's a decision that we'll have to make, weighing the cost, the impact, and the benefits of that. And that needs to be a robust conversation. For the frontage roads, we're in agreement. We heard loud and clear. I think both the MPO and the board and the DOT felt like some of the delays that were caused by the lane reduction down to 1 was pretty excessive. And I think of Ulmerton Road in particular, where that went up substantially. What we've talked about, though, is how do you make them safer? And how do you ensure a consistent 35 or 40 mile an hour speed? The frontage roads are designed for local business access or local access to property. They're not meant to move high-speed traffic. That's what the main line's for. The problem is today people are getting on the frontage roads, they're bypassing congestion, and they're getting back on US 19. To me, that's not a good use of the frontage roads, but that's something we're asking the department to evaluate and look at it and see what they can recommend. And we're seeing a lot more residential development happening on those frontage roads, so now you have more conflicts than if they were purely commercial roads. So those are the issues, and how we resolve them, I don't know, but that's what we're expecting to have some recommendations back in a few months. Is that accurate? Is there anything you want to add? Okay, very good. Does that answer your questions, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. The last thing I'll mention back to the legislative committee, I won't go through all these bills because you can see them, is the committee decided to not meet over the summer and resume meeting in October. The legislative session starts in March of 2023. We will have elections in November. We'll have primaries. We won't really know necessarily who is serving in what committees for quite some time. We probably don't even need to meet in October, except our staff would like to be able to work with partners and develop a legislative platform to present, and we need some time to do that. And then once we develop that platform, we might need a bite or two at that apple before you approve it. So we'll meet in October. We will also probably take September as an opportunity to reappoint members of this board to the legislative committee. So we'll keep that in mind, especially as any terms might be ending. And I think that's all I have on the legislative, unless there are questions for anything there.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay, the next item under my report is the Pinellas Planning Council budget update, and I did want to just give you all a quick heads up. Last month, Rodney came up and gave you a brief overview of the budget, a presentation of how we were developing the budget. And since then, we've had the audits completed, and you've had that audit presentation. Well, what the audit does is it trues up our final balances for the year ending FY21. And so what we've learned in that is that we have a pretty lower amount of carryover funds in the Pinellas Planning Council budget than we had anticipated when Rodney came up here and made his presentation to you. So we are now looking at FY23 as having a negative balance with more costs exceeding the revenues that we're anticipated to take in. This should not be news to any of you because I've been saying this for 3 or 4 years now since we reduced the millage rate in the FY17 year. We were spending down a very large unassigned fund balance, and I told you we couldn't keep doing that. And it's arrived about a year earlier than we expected. So we have laid out for the county OMB 4 scenarios for addressing that. Those scenarios include keeping things as is and incurring that deficit, which is not a good thing. They include 2 different levels of millage increases that would be the equivalent of about $2 for the average single family house is what is valued in Pinellas County. And then they also entail some cuts in our budget. One of the issues we've got is that we've got several open, unassigned positions in our agency. We are filling 2 of those currently, but we have 6. So removing those does lower some of our costs. We are also, as you see in the audit and in our proposed budget, reducing some of our expenditures in terms of contractual services and similar type things. But it's time to kind of pay the piper, and we need to fix this this imbalance that we have in our revenues and costs. So next month, I'm going to ask Rodney to come up and give a more detailed presentation of those. He and I are meeting with the county administrator and OMB staff on Monday. So we'll have a good discussion there, and I'll be able to bring back the results of that discussion. But I did want to give you a heads up because it was different than what we presented last month. We thought we might be able to wait another year, but don't think we'll be able to wait. And I feel like our agency is in a really good position with our local government partners right now. And we're getting more and more requests for technical assistance. I think I remember Linda Fisher is doing something like 8 comprehensive plan amendments or updates or evaluation and appraisal reports. And our staff is pretty thin, and we are stretched thin. So that's something we have to keep in mind as well. Are there any questions at this time for me? This is not for action. It's just a heads up that you'll get more information, and we'll have a discussion next month. And we have to take action on the budget in June. So we have a couple of months before we have to recommend a budget. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, what about the stakeholder survey?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Tina put this on the agenda and I completely forgot about it. The executive committee met a couple of weeks ago to discuss my annual evaluation, which we normally do over the summer months. And I think it was Commissioner Seal had a really good suggestion. In lieu of my evaluation this year, we will do a stakeholder survey of Ford Pinellas as an agency. And that stakeholder survey, as the discussion went, would include the local governments, probably through the administrator, and they would be able to designate appropriate folks who would respond, chambers of commerce that we work with, local land use attorneys and developer representatives, but people who do business with either the Pinellas Planning Council or the MPO as Ford Pinellas. We are already certified and reviewed by the Florida Department of Transportation, but I have no problem including agencies like PSTA, TBARDA, FDOT, and other partners in that. We are in the process of developing those questions. The idea would be, it would be a 10 to 15 question survey about our services, our responsiveness, our helpfulness or lack thereof, and get that feedback. And then that would be used for my evaluation in the following year. And the recommendation was whatever salary adjustments that are made for all unified personnel system employees would apply to me, rather than the board doing that. And that was the committee's recommendation. It's actually the committee's decision, because the way our bylaws read is the executive committee decides how my evaluation happens. But I did want to bring it to the full board's attention to see if anybody had any questions about that or concerns. And I would be happy to share that questionnaire with the board as soon as it's ready before it goes out.
Okay. Any other questions or comments today for the board? Hearing none, I just want to wish you all, yep.
Just one real quick
Yes,
one.
sir.
I had raised some concerns about the temporary changes at Skinner and the trail that were being put in place. And though I haven't seen any cops there, I mean, since it was implemented, like we thought there would be, I think it's working very well. The pedestrians and bikers are actually stopping with the red light, which I was really nervous about, because I just don't see bikers or walkers stopping much. They have a clear go. So it seems to be working pretty well. Keep our fingers crossed. Traffic moves when they're supposed to move, and they're not slowing down. And within, the only thing I was wondering is, as I was approaching it a couple of different times, it has a natural cycle. So it would almost seem to me that if there was no cars, or no walkers or bikers, that it should just stay green. But it goes through a cycle anyway, and it's kind of weird. So sometimes you'll see nobody walking across, but the traffic stopped. Right. So it seems a little bit odd, but anyway, it's working well from a safety perspective. That was my biggest
It's
concern.
coordinated with the Alt 19 signal, and I don't know that they can turn that coordination on and off depending on who's there or not.
Probably not. Yeah. So thank you. That's all I had.
I think Mayor Bajowski.
If I could just add to that, I was going to say that I have seen the cops there. They're on their bikes, sitting on the trail. They're not in a car.
Okay.
That's where they're sitting. So they're not looking at the cars, they're looking at the pedestrians and bicyclists to make sure they're pushing the button, which is, let's face it, where we've had the problem.
Well, thank God I've been following the rules so far. I didn't know they were there.
They told us that they would ticket cars that didn't stop as well.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Smith?
Just one. For, if possible, to the board members, there's still an opening for the local coordinating board for transportation disadvantage. That has to be filled by an elected. So if we could get maybe a write-up of what the requirements are. As the former chair of it, I'd like to see that filled as quick as possible, but it has to be an elected official. And if you can just do a little write-up real quick for all the board members, maybe you can push it out to your elected officials on your boards, or if someone on this board is interested in it.
I'd be happy to do that too.
Yeah. I thought we had a couple of candidates for that, so I'll check back with our staff and we'll see where that's
All
at.
right, thank you.
Vice Mayor Smith, I got a call today from Commissioner Barkley, and he's interested in serving on some kind of board. So you might want to reach out to him. He just called me today. He'd like to help. So, anyone else? Well, I just want to wish you a happy Easter, and I hope you eat a lot if you want to, and you enjoy paradise, get to the beach, but be safe. Make sure you do your crossings right if you cross the Gulf Boulevard, if you're down our way, and I just hope you have a great, until we see each other again in May, all right? Yes?
I apologize. I don't believe we took public comment on the consent agenda. No one ever signed up. But if we could please on the room so that the record reflects that public comment was taken for the consent agenda items.
Okay, would you like me just to say that public?
Yes, if you could. And again, no one ever asked to speak or signed up throughout the duration of this meeting.
So I'm just going to say that during the consent agenda that we did ask for public comment.
If you could just sound the room, if there's anyone here that
Is there
wishes
anyone
to
here who would
speak.
like to speak concerning the consent agenda today?
No.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting's adjourned. Have a good week.